Welcome to Dating in the 21st Century. I am Destiny. I am here to enlighten you to a lot of things that you should be doing, or where you can weed out people on the internet or even in your regular dating life. So welcome. This is my third installment. And today we are going to be talking about my interview process that I have perfected over the years. So let's get into it. So basically my interview process is, number one, what I do is because I mostly try to go online, but I'm actually starting to kind of retract that and not really advocate for online so much, because of the simple fact is that there is a lot of toxic people online right now. But that's why I'm putting this channel out, and that's why I'm actually doing this video in particular today, is because, if you're going to, even if you're outside and you're meeting somebody on the street, this still can apply. Okay? This still can apply. So my interview process consists of 4 parts. And I understand that the people are going to come on here who probably are religious or anything like that and don't agree with it. This is for people that are open-minded, who want to get results, or at least avoid a lot of chaos. And you can weed out people better in the dating process in 21st century. Okay? So 2 different ways. Okay? So 2 different ways you can go about the interview process. If you prefer to meet people out in the community, working, things like that, you still have to have questions. You still have to kind of put them through an inopportune or, some kind of interview process. Because there is a lot of toxic people out there these days. And so I'm trying to have you avoid as much as possible running into people, or when you run into one of these people. So what I usually do first is I actually make sure that I let them know what I'm looking for. So for example, on my profile, it says I'm looking for a friend or a friend with benefits, somebody that I can chill with, be friends with, we can hang out, but sex is not the most important thing on the agenda, even though I am looking for that. But I still want to be treated with respect at the end of the day, and this is why I came up with this process. So number 1 is I need to vet them. Vetting process is basically an interview process, but it's a nicer way of saying interview process, right? So I still have to vet them. So I have to ask them, what I'm looking for is height, weight. Don't care about skin color. They can be white, black, Indian, doesn't matter. I just like them tall and slender for the most part. I started getting into husky guys lately, because they are quite attractive. They are quite attractive. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. They are quite attractive. So what I usually do is I start with basically having them understand what I'm looking for, whether it's online or offline, and making that clear to them and clarifying that to them. Then I start asking them questions pertaining to what I'm looking for. So for example, is that I'm looking for somebody tall and slender built. So I would ask them what their height and weight is. If I'm meeting on the street, I'm already going to be automatically attracted to or drawn to who I'm drawn to, because that's my type. Online, you kind of got to ask. You got to ask, what's their height, what's the weight. Then you have them send you pictures. If you are somebody who's into what their tool looks like, you know what I mean by their tool. You know what I mean by their tool, right? Right? So if you're somebody who that matters to you, make sure you ask for pictures and let them know that they're going to be asked that if they even get past the preliminary interview part. And that's just asking questions just to make sure that they meet what you're looking for. They have to meet what you're looking for. So that way you have to ask questions according to what you're looking for and make sure that they meet that, because a lot of people like to lie. A lot of people like to lie. If you're lusting and you just like meet somebody on the street, and of course that's lusting when you first meet somebody, you still have to go further than that to get to know somebody. That's why I came up with this interview process. So that's basically if you first meet them, you get to a date, when you're meeting them in person for the first time on the street, for example, you make sure that y'all set up something to like maybe go to lunch or a coffee date or something like that. And then you would basically make up a list of questions before you would go on that little impromptu date, right? And just to get to know each other. And then you would make sure that you kind of casually bring up some of those questions and things like that that you need to know. If you're online, what you would do is you would vet them. You would ask all your questions before they even can get to a phone or a video conversation. And that leads me into the second part. So the second part of my interview process is if they pass the preliminary part, they go into the phone conversation or the video conversation. I'm leaning towards nowadays doing a video conversation because of the simple fact is that people lie a lot. And so therefore, you really have to vet them a second time. So you would do that by phone conversation or by video conversation. I'm starting to lean towards video conversation because that kind of gives me a aura, a feel of the person's energy. I'm big on the person's energy and the vibe that we share. And I do advise you to go along with that too. If you get any kind of red flag from a person when you go on an impromptu lunch date or coffee date or something like that, then I really wouldn't advise to go with it. But people are going to do what they're going to do. And that's why I'm putting these videos out, because at least you'll know ahead of time, like you'll know the red flags when they come. So like I said, I'm leaning towards more video conversation these days because it gives me, I get to see the person in person, I get to see their face, see if I'm still attracted to them, because a lot of pictures be old, people's pictures be old, people will send you old pictures, even, like, or whatever, if you never met them face to face yet, if you didn't meet them on the street. So, if you meet them on the street, then, of course, you're already attracted to them because you're on the street and you're just going to be naturally attracted to who you're attracted to on the street. But I still would, if you set up a date and do the second part of the interview. And like I said, make casual conversation. Casual conversation. Don't be blunt and upfront and like I'm blunt and upfront. I could do that. I don't advise other people to do that. The third part of the interview is when we meet face to face. And this is for mainly when people meet people online. But like I said, the third time, I would say this, if people met in person and like I said, the second part is like an impromptu, like a phone conversation. The third part of it would be meeting face to face. That would be kind of like the coffee date stage, lunch date stage. The second part is a phone or video conversation. The third part is you actually meeting them up and then y'all having an actual impromptu date, a lunch date or coffee break. Not dinner, because I don't like dinner dates. Not when you first meet somebody. You know why I don't like dinner dates when you first meet somebody? Because of the simple fact is that you start romanticizing it too early. Way too early. Way too early. Men and women, this is advice to you. Stop romanticizing things too early. Stop doing that. Like, men and women, and mostly it's narcissists, men and women. Stop romanticizing things too early. Stop it. And then come to find out, like, down the line, you're going to change your mind about the person. Like, that's not fair. It's not fair to anybody. So, like I said, the third part is meeting face to face, having that coffee date, having that lunch date. I don't really recommend breakfast because people are too busy in the morning. I like coffee break, lunch date, you know, so that way you get your date out the way. You don't feel slighted on the date, but don't call it a date. Just say, you know, we're just trying to meet up so we can see what the vibe is. Don't call it a date, but it really is a date. It kind of really is a date. But you just word it differently so nobody won't be threatened at the end of the day. Oh, this is getting too serious too soon. Now, personally, fourth part of my interview is that I have sex with them. Now, this is not for everybody at all. I do not recommend this for everybody because everybody has their own pace at what they want to do something. So I am very well aware that we got the religious people out there and everything. You know, if you're not ready for that and you want to wait a little bit longer, that's fine. You can wait as long as it's between the third part of the interview and the fourth part of the interview. Usually my typical is 2 weeks. To a lot of people, that's not long enough. It can be a month. Sometimes with me, it is a month. Because if I meet somebody in another state, right, I'm going to have to get to know them because I can't knowingly just up and go to another state anyway. So it's actually a good buffer to be able to get to know somebody before you travel to that state. So sometimes I'll be talking to a person in another state for 3, 4, 5, 6 months before I actually go to that state and meet them. And I pre-plan where I'm traveling to, and then I meet people from the area. And then once I go there, I done already known these people and been talking to them for 5, 6, 7 months already. So that's basically the fourth part of my interview is that, yes, I go and I'm very open-minded. And yes, I do go and I will try it out. And let me tell you why. I'm very sexually open-minded. So, and let me tell you why. So the thing is with people that are sexually open-minded, and I know in the long run, if I'm looking at this person for a potential mate, and I know that sex is one of the important parts of my love language, because I mean, people want to talk about love languages, right? So if I see that this is one of the things that's important part of my love language is good sex. That's part of my love language. So my thing is that I got to test you out. That's it. I got to test you out. That's it. I got to test you out. And I can't apologize for being me. I'm very highly sexually active. You know, I have a very, very high sex drives. You know, it's okay, females, for us to have a high sex drive. It just really is. You know, a lot of men, you know, that's going to be my next video about how these men out here talking about masculine women. That's going to be my next video. Talking about these dudes out here too, talking about how they don't like masculine women. So, but I mean, it's okay. Like, I had to learn there's a whole community of people out there, couples that are like, you know, living lifestyle. I'm polyamorous. You know, I don't have nothing against straight people that want to be monogamous. We're going to do many videos about that, you know, because at one time I was, you know, practicing monogamy. But of course, as time went on, I got to stop practicing it. So, you know, that's why I'm a little different with putting this information out there to people, because I've lived both sides of the spectrum. So I want to be balanced and fair, but I do also want to understand, like, let people know and enlighten people that it's okay, because some people will make you feel bad for being who you are. But these are also the new ways of dating in the 21st century too. That there's all kinds of things out there that people can explore and whatnot. I still believe in a marriage a little bit. But that's another video for another time too. You know. So, number one, let's wrap up. Let's wrap up for number one is you have to vet them either in person or as soon as they send you a message online. You have to ask them, are you what I'm looking for? Are you what I'm looking for? Ask them questions pertaining to what values and standards and things that, you know, like preliminary questions would be like, if you're meeting somebody in person, Some questions would be like, what do you do for a living? Do you have any children? Where do you live at? What's your name? Like, where do you live at? What's your name? What's some other easy questions, but vetting questions that you would ask somebody as soon as you meet them? Like, don't ever just lust after somebody. And I'm talking about you stand right there, meet somebody, say, oh, turn around and be like, oh, you know what, by the way, you know what? Come here, let me talk to you for a second, and you let them know, and you tell them, I'm interested in you. You nice looking, I'm attracted to you, whatever. So, you got a girlfriend, things like that. And it's up to the person to say, whether they have a girlfriend or boyfriend or not. And then you kind of can lead into things such as, do you have a girlfriend, boyfriend? What are you looking for? I advocate for friendship all the time. But that's another video. I advocate for friendship. So that's something that everybody can lead with. Anybody can lead with friendship. I'm looking for friendship. And, friendship. Don't even talk about companionship there. Just friendship. That way nobody feels threatened. You don't want people to feel threatened when you go out here and date these days. Ask questions like that. Second part of the interview. If they pass the first part of the interview, the second part of the interview is that you get them to submit to a phone conversation, a video conversation. I advocate more for video conversations because of the simple fact is that because you get to see what the vibe is with the person and to see if you can vibe with this person on a regular basis or not. If that person don't have no conversation for you and you're a person that likes conversation, of course it ain't gonna work. Third part of the interview process is that you meet them face to face, or you meet them for an impromptu date. You meet them on the street, you ask your questions, they meet everything you're looking for. You do a phone conversation to see if they have good conversation skills, if that's what you're looking for. If you're just looking for sex, go for what you know. I always say that. If that's what you're just looking for, men or women, go for what you know. But for people who are looking for possible in the future companionship and relationships, do it this way. Make sure you have an interview process. The third part is meeting face to face, basically for a coffee date or a lunch date. It's casual. It doesn't make it too serious. And you can go with friends and do casual lunch dates and coffee breaks and coffee dates. And the fourth part, like I said, you can get down, basically. You can try them out in the bedroom and see if the sex is suitable for you. Because I think going into the future, people that are more sexually aware of themselves and are not ashamed of that, it's going to be something that they're going to have to include, because too many of us get mismatched with people that are not equally yoked in the bedroom. And it's time for, it's not going to stop, but just to put the awareness out there that you don't have to settle, So sometimes you got to come out your comfortability zone and try somebody out. And like I said, between the third part and the fourth part, it can be 2 to 7 months before you actually see that person. If they live far away, it could be up to 6-7 months. Long as they show consistency and interest. If they show consistency and interest with seeing you and meeting you, that's a good sign. Initially, that's a good sign. So I would go with that feeling if they're consistent. A lot of people talk about consistency and communication these days, and that is starting to be a big part of dating in the 21st century. People starting to be aware that they want to have more communication again, instead of just having this text on the phone and stuff like that. So thank God it's kind of going back towards that way. where people are craving communication again. So, and I guess that's it for today, guys. So, like I said, dating in the 21st century, this is it. This is my way of weeding out a lot of assholes. A lot of assholes. I'm talking about for men too. Men too. This weeds out a lot of women who are not serious or just about the money, if that's, you know, what you're trying to avoid when you're out here dating these days. So, all right, guys, I'm out. Love y'all. Peace, love, light, enlightenment. Like I said, once again, this is Dating in the 21st Century. And stay tuned for the next video. Please like and share my video.